Hi guys, Chrissy here. I apologize at the delay for getting something out, but I've been working on this for about a month now, and it's been the most frustrating process. So, I decided to come at you a little bit differently this time with a slideshow because I wanted to recreate a spread I did back on March the 9th. And it's a spread to reflect the current events surrounding us. And I still wanted to share it, even though it's a bit late, but it still very much applies to where we're at right now and gives us some insight going forward. So I am titling this March Madness 2020, where the road officially splits. So let's go back to March 9th. And if you can jog your memory a little bit, there was a lot going on at that time. And that was just when the pandemic thing was really starting to get pushed out, but there were other things that were also happening. So if you can recall, we had corporate corruption happening. We had CEOs resigning left and right. We had child trafficking really starting to make the news. And we also had some really big names coming out in this Hollywood and elite pedophilia problem. And now, on top of it, we had this virus pandemic, and the mainstream media was just going bonkers with this. So, I, like everybody else, fell a little bit into that fear energy pattern. And while I was at Magic Moon that day, I took a moment with my downtime and I decided to lay some cards. Now, I did not question where we were going in terms of this virus because I felt as a species we were going to overcome it. We've overcome pandemics, epidemics before. But what I concentrated my efforts on was to look more closely at why was this happening? What was this trying to teach us and where we might be going after this? So, this is a recreation of the actual cards that I laid that day. This is a Celtic Cross. And what struck me was how positive I initially felt viewing this. My intuitive first impression was like, wow, this looks actually pretty good. But then, as I let the cards marinate with my left side of my brain, I was like, oh, I could see where you could maybe read this a little bit differently. And there could be, I'm going to say, like a darker side to this. So I'm going to read this in the initial intuitive impression that I interpret them as. But then I'm going to follow it up also with that alternative outcome that you could read this as. And I guess what I want to say is because the outcome is a little bit fuzzy, is but isn't, I think what it's truly trying to tell us is that we are at a fork in the road, really. We're at a crossroads, and this is all a part of a great awakening. So moving on, the first card that I pulled was the moon. Now, the moon as our lead card shows all the uncertainty that's been happening around us. It validates that there are fears, anxiety, unknown factors at play, uncertainty of the future, and things that are not at all what they seem. In fact, it kind of feels like we're living in a movie at this point. This could also allude to the possibility of some hidden things or factors and even some deception of sort. There are two sides to every story as suggested by one dog on each side of that path, and clarity is only going to come with time. The moon is a card of using intuition and instincts. This card may also be alluding to the fact we've been wearing rose-colored glasses. We have not been addressing important issues as we have been either fooling ourselves into believing there are no issues to acknowledge, or others have fooled us into thinking there are no issues for us to acknowledge. One of these issues is the bug coming from the water. It was hiding, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike the unsuspecting victims who were clearly not paying attention as it approached. Our next card is the Knight of Wands crossing. The Knight of Wands crossing tells us there's a lot of change happening very quickly, and because of the uncertainty and anxiety we are experiencing, we may be acting in haste, utilizing those animal instincts of survival. Many of us have been spinning our wheels and getting nowhere fast because we feel dazed and confused. This could also suggest becoming very impatient, argumentative, or even hostile as frustration starts to surface. From a broader perspective, this could suggest delays in getting affairs in order or slow and little initial action on behalf of our leaders as the virus reared its ugly head, suggesting that some may have acted in haste while others did not do enough because the truth is, many were unsure of what to do anyway. As a side note, the moon combined with the Knight of Wands could further suggest that as a collective, we've been living blindly because we've been chasing our tails and living the fast life, ignoring or not seeing issues because of our busy lifestyle chasing illusions. This could also suggest that someone who is a bit immature and impulsive could have been deceitful or has hidden knowledge of something related to our current circumstances. Moving forward, we have the Three of Cups in our foundation. The Three of Cups is a beautiful card, and at our foundation, it's what's driving the bus, essentially. It's suggesting that we want a sense of community, harmony, equality, and support from the people around us. We are looking for a genuine connection with people that we can trust. One that is supportive, like a brother or sisterhood type energy. An energy where everyone wins and we raise ourselves by lifting the people around us. This is a mutually supportive energy, and it suggests that we want to work together to inspire each other with creative new ideas on how to start again with truth, equality, and freedom. There's a huge level of authenticity in this card. Speaking the truth, there's nothing to hide with the women that are on that card. In our past position, we have the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups is another beautiful card and just has this warm, positive energy about it. This is a card of nostalgia, heartfelt connections, sentiment, enjoying the home and family, generosity, past memories, and a returning to what was. In the past position, it's telling us we did not feel that there was anything necessarily wrong. We were happy with the way things were, have fond memories of the past, and wouldn't mind returning to a more innocent energy of what was. In our crowning position, we have the King of Wands. The King of Wands, I'm happy to see this card here. What it implies is that we are not only hoping our leaders take charge of the situation to the best of their ability, it suggests that they actually will. There is a strong sense of determination on this king's face. He is very strong, confident, powerful, motivated, and he is seriously contemplating his next move. The energy surrounding him suggests he would like to rush because there is so much happening so quickly. Information is constantly changing, and he is trying to be methodical with his approach and do things by the books. It suggests he wants to be patient with the process, does not want to rush into anything that may result into a negative outcome. He is willing to make a compromise or compromises and try different approaches, but wants to make sure we are following best practice. King of Wands continued. I get a genuine concern from this leader's energy. There is no hidden agenda. He has obligations, expectations, and regulations he is trying to uphold, and he wants to move us beyond the strife. This energy presents as an honest, respectable figure to me. However, with the moon directly underneath him, I feel like there may be things lurking in the shadows that him himself is unaware of. There may be factors that are hidden or not known to him, and he is trying to rise above it, doing the best he can with the knowledge and tools that he has. Some side notes that come along with this. There is a suggestion that there may be a shadow side of current events this leader is trying to overcome. I am getting May, June energy, and that feels like when things are finally starting to move forward in a more positive direction. Our next card is the Four of Cups, and that's what's before us. Now, actually, at this point, this is probably what we're experiencing now. So, the Four of Cups in our immediate future, again, where we're at now, suggests discontentment, disappointment in the way things are, wishing things could be different, and being unhappy with how things are going. This card can suggest we would like a different approach to life, that we are not currently happy with how things have turned out. We're stepping back and taking a pause to be introspective and trying to restore ourselves emotionally. Quite literally, there's also a sense of boredom with this card. Many of us are getting restless in the home and just want to go back to our old lives, the way they were before the silent enemy crept up on us. As a side note, I do feel there is some relief coming as suggested by the cup being offered, quite possibly by the third week in April. Next card is Seven of Pentacles in our position. So the Seven of Pentacles in our position shows that we expect recovery to take a long time. It will be hard work and a methodical process, but this card is favorable for a good outcome. It suggests that we are now at a point where we need to make some decisions about what to do next and are contemplating our strategies. What is going to work best going forward? This card also shows us looking over what we have in our lives, could literally be taking stock of the items we have for preparedness and looking over our financial situations, making plans with our coins, quite possibly questioning where we should put not only our money, but our efforts as well. This card is also reflective of us putting in effort to sustain ourselves at this time. I feel we are looking over how we can create a life that is less dependent on the government and the system. We want to have more control over our lives and are taking our power back by becoming more self-reliant, maybe by planting our own gardens and growing our own food, for instance. We want also to put our efforts where it will yield the most benefit for ourselves and the people immediately around us versus for larger corporations and entities. I also see a collaboration with others in the community. So I feel like we will be making moves to help each other at the local level by supporting small business and sharing resources within the community, like community gardens or farmers markets, for example. In the next position, we have the Magician, which is in our environments. So the Magician is another positive card that tells us we have the power, the skill, and the ability to overcome and create the changes we would like to see in the world. This is a favorable card that suggests we have the tools, the resources, the knowledge, and ability to turn this all around, not only by healing the sick and overcoming the pandemic, but by uniting together as one in a sense of community like we did for September 11th. This also suggests we have some very knowledgeable professionals, such as doctors and medical researchers, who are capable of finding a treatment. In our next position, we have the Chariot. That's in our hopes and fears. The Chariot in this position tells us that we have the determination and are hopeful we will overcome current challenges that humanity is currently facing. But we also fear that we have veered too far off course and may not be able to get things under control. There are many different issues that have come to separate and divide us over the years: race, religion, sex, pro-life, pro-choice, vax, anti-vax, political party, ideologies, and even good versus evil. Chariot tells us we have what it takes to conquer and overcome this separation as a whole. It will take persistence, determination, and letting go of the reins a bit, meaning in order for things to come back together, we will have to learn how to find a middle ground where we can work harmoniously so that we can move together in unison without working against each other. This card could also allude to our military or police force taking over control to restore balance and harmony. Although this seems scary, this spread is not demonstrating an abuse of power, at least not in these cards. Some of us welcome this, but some of us fear this. There are pros and cons to everything. Our outcome position was the Judgment card, and I clarified it with the Hangman card. Now, I don't know if this helped or hindered me, but I think I have a pretty good grasp on what it's trying to tell us. This is an extremely powerful combination and could actually be interpreted in a positive and a negative light. My first impression, I read this as absolutely positive, hopeful, and eerily beautiful. This to me tells us so much. First, this screams to me, great awakening. This combination confirms that we are undergoing the biggest mass awakening ever seen by humanity. This is a time of seeing things like we've never seen them before. It's a time of truth discovery, trusting that a greater power is at play and releasing control, letting go and letting God. This shows the higher consciousness and the enlightenment that will come as a result of this. This also shows that a change in the way we view life as a whole is not only needed, but is actually upon us. It shows we will not be going back to the way things were, and that this is the start of a new era. These cards suggest healing after sacrifices and after taking a pause to reflect or time out, which causes us to see things differently. I feel this is not only healing the physical in the pandemic, but also healing the spiritual. Current events are here to provide a wake-up call to humanity, to remind us of what is actually important. This is decision time for humanity, and it is a call to action. It suggests we will be discovering truths that will help us realize and recognize the true source of our pain on an individual and a collective level. Furthermore, this shows the many people making sacrifices right now for others, healthcare workers, essential employees, good doers. It also suggests taking the time out to heal, so in essence, self-isolating or quarantining if that's appropriate. Combined with the Chariot card in the previous position, I feel we will persevere no matter what it takes, even if it means we have to make individual or collective sacrifices to get there because we want to restore the balance and connectedness of humanity. In a nutshell, this screams to me revelation, ascension, evolution, new world, enlightenment, great awakening. This is transcendence from 3D to 5D consciousness. This also demonstrates that more truth is coming out and people will be held accountable for their past actions. We will continue discovering truths about the past, the establishment, our political figures, our systems, our celebrities and corporations, and all of the corruption and lies and illusions surrounding all of it. I get a whistleblower type energy from this. Someone is making a sacrifice to bring truth to others. It may be a leader or political figure, a group of people, or this could just represent the energy as a collective, the universe herself showing us what truth is. Karma is at play here at a collective level. Those who have been making the changes and already doing the work on themselves are going to find that things get easier faster because they've already been doing the work and trying to evolve, compared to those who have not made any changes or started the awakening process. Okay, so let's go to the dark side with this interpretation. So this is the alternate interpretation. First, let's start off by saying there are multiple layers associated to the current events facing us right now. The virus is just one of those layers. There have been illusions pulled over our eyes for thousands of years, and these are slowly becoming exposed underneath the noise of the media vomiting fear to keep us in a state of inaction. Humanity is officially at the fork in the road. This combination could allude to people rising up and making self-sacrifice for a cause, wanting their voices heard. This could be in the form of protests, meetings, movements, and this also could allude to some civil unrest that might result in matched resistance from the establishment. This could be like a revolution type energy. I don't really want to go as far as to say war, because the cards surrounding this were so positive. I don't want to entertain an extremely negative outcome. However, I will say that I don't think things are going to be easy, but I do think we overcome the challenges. Even if we went that way in this reading, I feel we overcome this by pushing back as a united people. Neither outcome is definitive or written in stone at this time. We still have a choice as a collective. I do feel from supporting cards, we will rise above this, come together, and overcome these difficult and challenging times. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be a walk in the park, but we will get through this. Some other insights and predictions. Those who have done bad or horrible things will be getting called out on their actions and being held accountable for them. The old ways that are based on fear, suppression, and abuse of power are going away. This includes all the people, institutions, and structures associated with that type of energy. Secrets are coming to light, and clarity comes as we move forward. This spread suggests a powerful and well-intentioned leader aiding us. He wants healing, stability, and comes from a place of morals and values. Now, I can't promise you that's our president. I don't know who it is, but it suggests he is a man of integrity. We will be seeing more people come together as a community and to aid one another and to become more self-sustainable. We will be placing our efforts into our own gardens. This could be figuratively and literally. We will be trying to become less dependent on the system and more self-reliant. I also feel this energy represents people standing up for a cause. I feel movements forming or protester type energy with this. People want their voices to be heard as they are tired of making unfair or extreme sacrifices. Some other insights and predictions that come with this combination. We will see positive changes approximately 8 weeks after the start of the quarantine in the US. May and June feel like things are finally moving beyond the panic and strife to some degree, and we will be in what I am calling a recovery phase. A leader, whoever this person is making sacrifices to bring a change to help restore our way of life. Sadly, I do not feel we are 100% out of the water after this thing resolves. Fall time may bring another whole set of circumstances to us. Not just the possibility of the reemergence of the virus, but some kind of unrest or political uprising as well. Scorpio to Sagittarius time, which is November and December, this feels like big change to me. Could come in the form of protests, movements, or civil unrest for a cause. Together we will rise above this pandemic, the propaganda, the lies, corruption, suppression. We will rise above the illusions and we will release the old ways that were based on fear and welcome a new way of existing. And that wraps up my presentation here, guys. I'm sorry I was long-winded again. To schedule a private reading, I am available remotely through phone, video chat, and email. Please see my website at www.ChrissyMTarot.com. You can email me at chrissy@ChrissyMTarot.com, or feel free to text at 518-470-3026. Thanks so much. Be well, and I'll catch you again soon.